in Module 1, there was an epilogue. In Module 1, there was an epilogue, kind of a follow-up that was intended to supplement your first outcomes from the Module 1 assignments and solution. So basically, you were to go back and look at some specifics. You wanted a baseline of network activity and behavior, and to take a look at some network enhancements. So that was the purpose of the Module 1 solution. And then once again, we added the epilogue with DNS capabilities. So if you have either Raspberry Pi or a standalone DNS system devoted for your use, you could complete this. I just wanted to remind you, if you haven't finished that yet, you need to complete that. I will be posting the Module 1 retake for your final attempt of the Module 1 assessment soon, obviously with a date revision. And then I wanted to go ahead and walk through the expectations for Module 2 and what we'll be doing through the end of next week. So through the end of this week on through to the end of next week. So with Module 2, the main idea is client-side artifacts, and you have to take into account context for the given network, right? And essentially, the reference that we're going to be drawing from are chapters 1 and 3 of the course textbook. And so we wanted to get very specific about legal aspects of incident handling versus evidence collection, jurisdiction, standards, and methods, okay? And then client-side artifacts from the local host and from alternate hosts in and across different networks. So we've been hinting at and stating outright that there are occasions when the common methods to assess network activity for a given system have been compromised. So there are cases where a rootkit or kernel level exploit will typically mask the overhead created by clandestine access and operations on a network host. So even though our goal is to collect client-side artifacts, we understand that in fact, in most network forensic scenarios, by the time we're ready to collect client-side artifacts, the odds are pretty good we're already dealing with a wonky system or device, and that if it's been compromised with clandestine and skilled interests in mind, that there could be some activity that's masked. So capturing the healthy and uninfected baseline of network activity is essential, not just on systems and devices, but also across the network. And then apart from that, we have to have the tools to know how to detect, right? And how to run analysis tools against an infected host from a second system on the same or different networks, okay? Does anyone have any comments, questions, observations based on what we've just shared? So we have 6 student learning objectives in Module 2 formally. We want you to be able to explain how network forensics differs given legal and incident handling interests. We started to review this in recent sessions. We want you to be able to call out the salient interests depicted in chapter 3 and the lead scenario. And I want you to think about this term pivots, okay? So we'll get to that in just a second. We also need you to be able to contrast different types of network firewalls by summarizing the history of development. This is a student learning objective that's the material for which, you know, it's provided separately from the information out of the textbook, right? We want you to be able to describe the Achilles heel and most underutilized features of network firewalls. And then given a scenario, we want you to be able to identify and utilize evidence collection standards and methods. And then given a particular scenario, identify and utilize evidence handling standards and methods. Does everybody understand the distinction between collection and handling? They're two different activities, right? Can someone unmute their microphone and let me know we're still here? Everybody's still together?
Still here.
Okay. So let's pivot, pun intended, into the module 2 content. By now you should have some level of interaction with the local DNS that was staged this last Friday, either with a Raspberry Pi or with a standalone DNS server. You want to be able to capture proof that a local DNS is deployed and operational on your network and demonstrate active use because you've implemented that DNS resource in the configuration of your network settings for a device or a system on your local network. Does anyone have any questions, or has anyone run into any difficulties or snags completing this assignment?
You're talking about the solution, right?
Well, no, this is an assignment. There's a separate solution that we'll be posting.
Oh, that's module 2. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, this is module 2. Module 2. Yes. Maybe it would help. Let's jump back here to the cover page for the module. So last Friday, we offered you one of two options to stage your own local DNS, and then to implement it on a device or a system in your home network. Everybody with me? Hello? Everybody did something with DNS over the weekend and on Monday, since Monday, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. All right, we have 2 more assignments and then a solution. We're going to create a Kali virtual machine and validate its function. This is due by 9 a.m. Friday. Then we're also going to create and validate its function, a Microsoft Server virtual machine. So we want you to build 2 virtual machines on your personal technology, and we want you to conduct some light activities to validate that it's working properly. We're going to cover that in just a minute. On Friday, we're going to review what you need to do for your solution, which is to demonstrate the ability to detect, collect, and assess client-side artifacts. Collect, detect, and assess client-side artifacts in the environment, right? By this time next week, not only will you have completed this solution, but by this time next week, you will have completed the Module 2 assessment first attempt, okay? And then, not by this Saturday, but by the following Saturday, you'll reconcile and then retake the Module 2 assessment. So by the end of next Saturday, we will have completed the second attempt of the Module 1 assessment, and then everything we need to do for Module 2 to wrap it up. Okay? Any questions on what we've reviewed so far as assignments and solutions? So for your 2.2 assignment, what I want you to do is to prepare a Kali virtual machine and then validate its function. It's going to be a very simple thing to do. In order to log your first point, you're going to download either the Kali install media or the appliance, and I would recommend the appliance. The second point, you're going to configure the Kali virtual machine in bridged mode for the network interface, and then conduct a quick Nmap scan of your local network environment. Okay, so it's a two-part thing. You're going to install and set it up. That's the first point. And then the second point is that you're going to work the network interface in bridged mode to perform a simple Nmap assessment of your local network environment. Let's review how that goes. So what you'll need to do, of course, everyone has a copy of VirtualBox loaded on their machine, yes?
Yes.
I mean, without fail, everyone has VirtualBox.
Yep.
Right, so we don't need to worry about explaining VirtualBox or the VirtualBox extensions or anything like that. So if you go to the Kali website, kali.org, you can download entire virtual machines. Now, if this is possible, if you have basically, if you have enough disk space, you should download the virtual machine rather than the installer image. Now, the installer image is typically used to load Kali manually and step by step. The virtual machine is ready to go. And so what you'll do is use the VirtualBox option, and you're also going to reveal the SHA-256 sum. SHA-256 sum. It's a checksum. Another term for that is hash. So you're going to copy this hash, and what you're going to want to do is download the 2.9 gigabyte file, and this is essentially an appliance, right? So what's going to happen is that it's going to download. You can use torrent. If you use torrent, I would recommend using microtorrent from the CNET downloads website. That tends to be pretty clean, and then when it's finished, when you're finished excuse me, when you're finished using it, you can basically uninstall it so it isn't running resident all the time. So if you have difficulty downloading this through the web download option, because your internet service is slow or because it's disrupted frequently, the BitTorrent option is actually pretty pretty handy. If you have a professional or education edition of Windows, and you're capable of enabling Hyper-V, you could run it in Hyper-V. And you're going to find that for those of you that have any problems doing it on your local machine, that's actually what I'm going to stage on our platforms. So in case you have problems completing the 2.2 assignment, I'm going to set up in the Hyper-V environment the same Kali virtual machine. You'll notice here there's a different hash. So I'll go ahead, since I'm going to stage those on the platforms as an alternative in case you have problems setting up. It's better for you to set up your own virtual machine in your own environment. So, any questions so far? You need to make sure that you're running the latest version of VirtualBox. So you're going to want to check for updates. It's 7.0.10, I think, is the latest version. And essentially, what you're going to do is unpack the thing and then add the virtual machine. So when you're downloading the entire virtual machine, after it's been downloaded and unpacked, once you check the SHA-256 hash to make sure you have a good copy, you're going to want to add the machine, and you'll want to park that stuff inside your VM folder. So you'll need to have a VM folder on your C drive, and that's where you'll put the Kali download. Any questions? Once your Kali virtual machine is downloaded, you're going to want to change the setting so that the network is set in bridge mode. Now, you may not be able to do this at first. So what we're finding is that after you download the Kali virtual machine, there are issues or errors that won't go away until you put it in NAT mode. So you may have to start it in NAT. And then after you've run apt-get update, apt-get upgrade, you'll have an opportunity to change it for the second part of that assignment into bridge mode. Does everybody understand what I'm talking about here?
Yes.
Okay. Once that's complete, you're going to want to run Kali, log in, and then run nmap against your local network. So you'll need to show that the network adapter is in bridge mode, and then you're going to run nmap. Now, as far as the other assignment, it's similar. You're going to use the download from Module 1 and the license from Module 1. You'll install and configure a standard server. You'll use the license that you haven't used already. So some of you have donated a data center license. Others of you have set up a standard user license. You'll have one of the two licenses that's unused yet. So you'll set up a Microsoft virtual machine, and what you'll want is at least 46 gigabytes, so I'd recommend creating a 47 gigabyte hard disk. In order to do that, you're going to want to use the tools for media, and you'll create a 47 gigabyte VDI virtual hard drive, and it needs to be it's not dynamically sized. It's all one disk. So if I create a VDI, I'm going to pre-allocate the full size so that it's not dynamic. You don't want it to split into 2 gig parts. You want to pre-allocate a full size, and you're going to designate 47 gigabytes for your server install for the local machine. The Kali install will take up about 20 or so gigabytes. So in terms of, let's make sure I've got this here. We're almost done. The Kali appliance, let's see, in storage. Let me check. By the time you finish installing the Kali, it's going to be about 23 gigabytes large. When you install the server, it'll be 46, 47 gigabytes large. If you run into disk space challenges and you need to stage your builds on our platform, you need to email me as soon as we clear the class today. So if you're not able to complete both assignments with your own laptop, you're going to want to email me right away so we can start making arrangements so that we create your virtual machines on our platform. Are there any questions about what we've covered as far as the assignments? That's all we needed to share today. Thank you for joining us. Please get started on the virtual machine builds and have them ready by Friday 9 a.m. We'll need to work with them live in class to walk through the network analysis methods. Thank you for joining us.